Hi, everybody. I'm Diana Palm, and I am the medium helping you heal the grief from heartbreak and loss. Today's topic, I'm going to give you the 5 signs that your loved ones are around and watching over you. I love this topic. Of course, if you've been on my channel before, you know I have hundreds of videos around spiritual topics, connecting with your loved ones in the afterlife, interpreting and understanding your signs and symbols, ways that they communicate with you, and ways that you can bridge that gap and connect directly with them. So this is what I do. I've been working with the bereaved for over 30 years, and I love helping you be able to recognize that your loved ones are still with you. So let's dive in. The number one way that you will feel your loved one in the afterlife with you is through sensing. And you'll know what this means. You'll get goosebumps on your arm. When you feel them come near you in spirit, your heart will often just kind of expand. It'll literally, it feels like an expansion. Sometimes that's when they're physically touching you. It feels like a spirit hug, but your heart grows and you may feel warmth in your heart. You might feel sudden heartbeats, fluttering, or it just feels like that warmth and that safe expansion. Often this will be accompanied by emotions. This might be making you, feel more sentimental in that moment. We might just naturally start to cry or weep a little bit. That's okay. That is your loved one being near you and you sense them. Sensing is so natural for humans. We often forget how animalistic we are and how natural we are. It's very, very natural for you to be able to feel the spirit world. So that is the number one way that you will feel your loved one with you in the afterlife, is sensing their presence. You may also just feel the energy shift in the room. For instance, if you're sitting in a room and you're used to what it feels like, just as if a living person were to enter the room, if somebody were to walk in behind you, you would sense that somebody else was in the room. You may feel their energy and you may know who it is based on how that energy feels. If it's real, hyper, if it's calming, if it feels nurturing and safe. We identify each other this way all the time. All the living people do this. The energy is not different on the other side. So when your loved one passes, their energy is represented in the same way. And that's why people often feel like, oh, I thought I felt, my sister, my dad, whoever their loved one is that passed, I thought I felt them, but then I looked and nobody was there. Don't trust these eyes anymore, because few people can actually see the spirit world. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, most mediums are mental mediums. They don't actually see the spirit world with their physical eyes. Now, this is something I teach people. I've got several videos on learning how to see spiritually. I also have a book on that called Mediumship, Scrying, and Transfiguration. This will help you to develop your spiritual sight so that you can see spirits when you're turning to look at them. But the bulk of you, the majority of you, will not see spirits. So trust your initial feeling when you feel that sensation of them entering the room, standing beside you, or your heart's opening and you suddenly start to weep. That is a really accurate way to determine that your loved one is around you and is watching over you. Hey, Shadow, it's okay. I'm watching my sister's dog and he might need to go outside. Do you need to go outside, honey? Okay, so I'm gonna plow forward just in case, and he'll let me know if he needs to go out. Okay, so the number 2 way that you will know your loved one is with you, signs you can look for, is, honey. Okay, so I'm sorry. This is a live stream, so things happen. 1 second. Do you need to go outside? Here, go. Okay. Hang on. Okay. Okay. Okay, sorry about that. I gotta make sure we take care of our babies. Okay, so the second way that we do this is actually hearing. You can actually hear an audible voice from your loved one who passed. Sometimes this just happens organically. It happens pretty often in the closest phase right after the passing, when you're more attuned to their energy and you're more connected to their vibration still. So there's like a 2-week window after their passing where you're more likely to hear their voice. The further the time goes away from their passing, the less ability you'll have to hear it audibly, but you can still pick it up with tape recorders or through spirit boxes. Now, many of you don't know this, so I'll remind you or let you know. I did paranormal work for over 19 years. My favorite device out of all time, out of all the many, many, many devices I've ever used, is this SB7 spirit box. Now, I've always stood by that product. I love it. It's so accurate. And for me, it's like a telephone to the other side. Quite literally, when I turn it on, I always get my meditation, I get my vibration right, I set my candles, maybe I sage, or I do things to just make sure I'm really setting the stage for myself. I turn it on and then I record my sessions. And you can hear because the SB7 Spirit Box scans all the radio frequencies very, very quickly. So when you're hearing a word, a compound word or sentence, you know it's a spirit talking to you because the scanner is moving so quickly through the stations that it is not a voice that you're hearing from the radio. So, and it's even more beautiful when the answers are relevant to what you're asking. And you'll often actually hear your loved one's voice, the correct answer, and the tone or the inflection of how they spoke. I have a beautiful, perfect response from my little sister after she passed. And it was the right answer, her voice, the right inflection, and everything. It was so perfect. And when you're doing it this way to connect with your loved ones, you don't need to sit in a dark room and do it all night long like you normally would on a paranormal investigation. You just have to ask like maybe 1, 2, or 3 questions. Let the recorder run for just a little bit as the spirit box is, going through its cycle of stations. You will hear what you need to. Don't continue to invite other spirits. Be very clear that you do want to speak with your loved one. This is the best way to do it. But the second one is, the hearing the voice, getting an audible message or getting an EVP on a recording or using the spirit box. And like I said, my favorite is to use the spirit box with the recorder because I will hear things in the moment. But when I hear and I listen back to the recording of the spirit box session, I usually use my earbuds because I can interpret and hear so much more. I mean, literally, I have pages of information written down from different spirits that are talking. I mean, we have a huge spiritual support team, all the angels, all of our spirit guides, all of our ancestors. So quite literally, you have to kind of navigate and be very specific about whom you want to speak with for your own afterlife validation. And that's the best way to go about that. Like I said, don't invite everybody. Be very specific that you would like to connect with ancestors or specific ancestor or loved one that just passed, and see if you can build that rapport with them. That's absolutely the easiest way. Okay. The third thing is smelling a scent. When you smell the scent of a loved one who passed, it might be their perfume, their cologne, their tobacco, cigar. It's really common to smell their favorite food if you associate them with cooking a certain meal for you. That you might just get a whiff of that and you'll look around and there's nothing around. So no reason why that would make sense. That is them sending you a scent, a familiar scent, because we actually identify so many of our memories with smell. So if you think about your happiest memories, they're not just memories that are flat. You're like, oh, the air felt warm and it was happy and I felt joyful and we were eating this and oh, I smelled the flowers. It was springtime, or I smelled the pie, or whatever it was, fried chicken, whatever you like to smell, that'll be part of your memory. And so smell ties us back to memories. And spirit knows this. Your loved one on the other side knows this. So it's easy for them to send you a quick smell and it'll dissipate rather quickly. It usually does not linger. It'll just be a quick little scent that you'll smell and it'll bring you to a place in your mind of happiness, connection to them, and memories. And this is a really powerful way that your loved one on the other side can connect with you and let you know that they're around. Now, the fourth one we have is dream visits. And I'm checking the dog because it's very, very hot. I'm in Las Vegas right now, and I want to make sure that he's not staying out there longer than necessary. Excuse me, one more minute, please. Okay. Come on, baby. Come on. Okay, good boy. Okay, sorry. Sorry about that. Okay, it's like, 115 today. So yeah, we don't need to spend extra time outside, just enough time. Okay. Okay. So the fourth one that we have is a dream visit. I have had many, many dream visits that are profound. They're special. They bring healing to my heart. They help you have the closure you need. And I like to say loosely around closure because part of it is closure around unfinished business, but we never truly have closure with our loved ones on the other side because they never really leave our side. Our relationship with them continues. So after a loved one passes, we go through the releasing process, we go through our grief, we go through all these things to let go and to transition into a new space in our life, but they never truly ever leave your side. So it's really important that you know that, because knowing that you're always connected is an incredible feeling, and it allows you to live your life to the fullest without having to stay kind of numbed out to life, or feeling like you died along with them, or you're afraid to fall in love again or have something new. Now, when they leave, it's like their contract with you is over in the physical, but souls are never really truly done with each other. So your loved ones, they're like, okay, they met their death door. It's time for them to transition and move forward to another time and space, but their soul stays with you. So in the afterlife, they stay with you. They actually help you to complete your soul mission. They help you align with new people that you're meant to learn from and grow with. So they're totally in favor of your new friendships, new love interests. They want you to fall in love again. Trust me, they do not want you being sad and mourning them forever. Never, ever, ever, because they're still with you. Now, I have a huge audience for pet loss, and it is exactly the same. Your pets in heaven do not want you to cry about them. They're literally still with you. They snuggle with you in bed, and they're always guiding you to somebody new to love and adopt and care for, because their physical time is over and they want you to connect with somebody else that's physical while you're still here on the physical plane. So in the spirit world, when you fall asleep, your brain slows down, you move into different brain waves, right? And you go into like the alpha brain wave, the theta brain wave. You're slowing your brain waves down, you're more perceptive. And this is an easy frequency for them to come in and connect with you on. So the difference would be if you're having a dream, a normal dream, it might be really fragmented. It might be tons of people, colors, maybe if you dream in color. I always do because I'm extremely empathic and I have spiritual vision. So I've always had phenomenal dreams, like really layered, complex plots and plot twists and characters and colors and all that stuff. But dreams are normally scattered. And when you wake up, they tend to dissipate from both ends, from the beginning and the end, until all you're left with is some weird image in the middle. And you're like, I don't know what that dream means. Or maybe you forget it entirely and think you don't dream. You do. It's just hard to recall them. A dream visit is so very, very different because you will remember it forever. The dream will be so vivid and so meaningful that it moves your emotions, it moves your heart, it moves something within you. And even recalling it many years later, you'll still remember. Okay. That is the most significant difference, to let you know that a dream visit is a real ADC, after death communication. That means your loved one has made contact with you in the way that you're the most susceptible to receive it. Dreams are an excellent way for you to know that your loved one is around and watching over you still. I mean, I have dreams that dream visits that I had about loved ones that passed 15 years ago. I can still recall the conversations, the landscape, like like sometimes you meet in different places. There was one really close person that I loved. Every time that I would go and visit him, it'd be in the water, and I'd be like, the wind is perfect, and I put my hand in the water temperature is perfect, and I assess everything in my environment, and then all of a sudden he'd swim up to me, and then we would talk, and it would be so healing and so meaningful. It was like expressing all these things that we maybe were too afraid to say when we were alive, or maybe, egos and different dramas that people have. It was so we expressed a lot of things that needed to be said, and it was extremely healing. And I had many, many dream visits with this particular person. Some of my loved ones who have passed, I may have had only one or two dream visits because that's all that was necessary. So I kind of find that the more complicated a relationship is, the more you'll continue to visit with each other to continue working things out. Like I said, your loved ones don't really leave you. They're on the other side, and they want that cohesiveness too. They want harmony between you and them. They're dedicated to your life path just as much as you were to theirs. So when you intersect and you love somebody and you bring them into the fold, you bring them into your family and into your heart, there's a divine purpose in this. Even if the relationship ends in a terrible way, there's so many lessons for that for you to take forward with you into a next relationship. So it doesn't matter, if it was a relationship with an ex that died a long time ago or whatever it was, they still check in on you. Everybody does. We're so interconnected. It's amazing. So dream visits are a wonderful way. And if you want to invite dream visits, if you feel like that would be the most accessible way for you to receive visitations from your loved ones in heaven, then I would recommend that, you just do things that calm you down before you go to bed. You drink like a cup of hot cocoa or something that's real soothing. And by the way, chocolate is really good to help you dream. So that's why hot chocolate. So you could drink a glass of hot chocolate. You can even journal right before bed, or simply write by your own handwriting that you intend to visit with your loved one and name them who they are. At night, okay? And maybe you have a specific question for them, write that question down. And then as you go to sleep, just empty your mind. You don't have to push, you don't have to try, but you may have to do this more than one time, because it's you learning how to intentionally become more receptive so they can get that message across and get that connection through to you. So that's a really nice way to get into the mindset right before you go to bed so that you're much more receptive to it. Okay. And then the fifth one is seeing, it's either seeing an apparition, seeing, a shadow go by, or if you're perceptive to orbs, you might see orbs in your environment, or they might just be showing up in your photos. Okay. So I like to kind of blanket that under one big umbrella. I can see spirits. So sometimes I will see them with these eyes. I can tell that, I've trained people for many, many years, decades, how to see spiritually and how to become their own medium. And most people will see like a shadow pass by them. They'll sense a presence, and then they'll see physically something go by them. But when they turn to look, there's nothing there. Now, I want you to know that that is real, that you did see something. Your peripheral vision can see movement very easily. And so that's even trained into like military ops. So peripheral vision does see movement. So don't doubt what you're seeing. Doubt that there is something there. Or don't doubt it, because it's there. But when you turn to look, the front of your eyeball filters out what you're looking at. So it has a different perception ability than your peripheral vision does. So many times people, if you don't turn to look at it, you'll be able to detect more of them coming around you and watching over you. So if you see things moving around and you turn to look, don't suddenly discount what you saw. Try to stay still, allow yourself to become more and more aware of their presence without um, discounting it. Now, if you want to during those times, you can always pick up a camera and take a picture in that direction. You're most likely going to get some spirit orbs in the images. Spirit orbs kind of, they can be any kind of spirit. They can be ghosts. They can be, dark energies. They can be your loved ones. They can be angels, anything, right? Anything spiritual can be represented by an orb. So just seeing orbs isn't an indication that it is your specific loved one, but if you're feeling them or sensing them when you took a picture, then you can count on it that it was your loved one, okay? Because they will come to you this way. The orb is something that I have seen that comes through. It's like a spiritual portal, like when you're moving through the different dimensions and the different planes. It's kind of like the vehicle that any spiritual being will use. And now that's why even fairies can be in an orb, angelics. I mean, everything can first come through an orb. That's the way that we perceive them in our reality until they kind of reveal who they are. I've literally seen angels come through in an orb and then just kind of emerge out of it and become huge and basically just fill the room, right? So your loved one does this too. Your loved one may be showing up in orbs around you. You may be getting a lot of orbs in your pictures. It's especially meaningful if you take a family photo and there's an orb in the place of your loved one who's missing, the loved one who just passed. That's a really great indication that it is that specific person that is showing up in the photo for you. So you can see your loved ones in many different ways. If you're going to see their apparition, again, like that could be on the side of your eye. The most common way that you'll see their apparition is when you're in bed at night. You may feel something or hear something that wakes you up. And when you sit up to look at the foot of the bed or in the doorway, you may see an image of your loved one. That is really common because, again, they're using your ability to be receptive. When you're sleeping, your mind is more relaxed, your brain waves slow down. This makes you more receptive and perceptive to the spirit world. And they know this. So they come a lot of times around the bedroom because that is when your brain is slowed down and you're not busy thinking about bills or getting to work or feeding the animals or children or whatever else. You're in a receptive state. So seeing your loved one when you're falling asleep or when you're first waking up is going to be the biggest, most profound time for you to have a visual ADC, after death communication. Okay. And you can also interpret things like, when you're talking about them, if lights are dimming around you. I always get light bulbs that just flat out blow up, they explode. Yeah, you can have light bulbs just go on and off, flickering. All kinds of things in your environment can indicate that your loved one is there. And I would put that in the category of seen as well, because it's something that you're seeing with your eyes. And it's one of the ways that they can tell you, hey, sit down, be more receptive. I'm here. I want you to notice that this is me, and really what they want to tell you is they're here. They want to tell you that they love you. And yes, they are still watching over you. All your loved ones continue to watch over you. And they really don't want you to be sad forever. They don't want you to mourn for them forever. They want to see you take the blessings and the lessons from the life experience that you shared with them. And they want to see you master it, right? They're like your biggest cheerleader. They're like, go out there and get love again. Go out there and conquer that. Go out there, move if you want to move. That they realize that our physical resistance is like the Matrix. They have left the Matrix when they pass. And now they can see your fullest potential, and they do not want to see you live small or stay stuck. They want to see you have everything. And they know they'll be with you again as soon as you leave the Matrix, which means either mentally, allowing yourself to do that as you're moving through this life, or eventually when you pass. And then we'll come back and go into another matrix, I'm sure, so we can learn the whole thing over, learn how to master that, and learn how to know that we are not limited and we are not separate, um, and that we are always connected. We are always connected to one another. So, yeah. So, anyway, the two things that the bereaved most want to know, number one is my loved one okay? And number two is, can I talk to them again? And that's why I tell people right after somebody passes, most people really, it's like a dire need to reconnect for a moment. That's why most people seek mediums, so that they can feel some sort of reconnection again. And it's wonderful, but it doesn't last forever, right? So there are other ways that you can, well, what I do is I have created my spiritual grief healing program, which helps people reconnect and identify their signs and symbols in the afterlife. But I also help elevate their vibration so they're more receptive on their own for continued contact and continued messages and inspirations from their loved ones. So we do a lot of spiritual healing and lifting that heavy, heavy energy of grief and getting it out of the body before it causes physical ailments. So we do a lot of stuff like that in my program. Um, oh, hi guys. I didn't even see, like, I need to put my glasses on. My gosh. Okay, I got so many comments here. Okay, so let's see. Oh, so some of you are sending love to your ancestors and loved ones in heaven. That's wonderful. Um, oh, I see a message here. The day after my mom died, she came to me in a white gown, floating away from me and on a raft. I tried to swim to her, and she told me it was okay and bye. That's amazing. That was a real afterlife visit. That was a dream visit, just like we were talking about. I mean, they stay with you. It's beautiful. I love those. And most likely your mom was showing you like a bit of her heaven too, because we create our heaven and all of ours look a little bit different. So a lot of times when I'm connecting with people that have passed, they'll show me like, oh, I'm in heaven golfing with my buddy, and that person passed 2 years before. They'll show me simple things like, this is what I'm doing, or some people are boating, some people are fishing, and so a lot of things like that they bring through in the dream visit, or if you're connecting through your own ability to connect with them. So I love that. Communicate with them. Yes. Okay. Is there a way we can communicate with them, or we can have a conversation with them? Absolutely. I mean, I teach a lot of after death communication skills. I teach people how to, if they're using a Ouija board, no problem. Okay. I know a lot of people are like, don't use it. Trust me, I'm a medium. I did paranormal work for years, and I was trained by a Catholic priest almost 30 years ago how to clear demonic energy. So I don't take things like that lightly, but I have practices in place. If you're doing something like a Ouija board to communicate, bless it, set the environment, do not use drugs or alcohol when you're using it. Like most people are, if you think about like teenagers or college kids, they're drinking and they're like, hey, let's get the Ouija board. Of course, you're going to just open the portal for anything coming through. But if you're doing it mindfully and you have intentions of who you want to connect with, I would set out a picture, put some crystals down, sage the room, make sure it's nice and clear spiritually, and have the highest intention. Say some prayers that you only want to connect with your loved one in the afterlife, and then you'll be able to start getting the messages. So that's not quite talking, but it is a form of communication. I did talk earlier, so I don't know if you just logged on. But talking, quite literally like a telephone to the other side, I use the SB7 Spirit Box, and I use a separate recorder next to it. Actually, I was doing it this morning, and I turned it on to speak with some spirits and just, say, hey, what's going on, and talk to them and see how they're doing. And I have my iPhone next to me on record, like just through voice memo. And I like it because when you're listening back with your earbuds, you can actually go into the edit of the voice memo, and you can back it up and listen to it carefully over and over and really discern what they're saying, because sometimes they speak so quickly, or sometimes there's so many spirits speaking that you have to listen to it very carefully like that in order to like really hear what they're saying to you. But I always say if it's relevant, which means it means something, or they're answering a question that you asked, it's relevant, um, and it's timely, like you ask a question, they answer, then you're like, oh my gosh, I made contact with the spirit world, that's amazing. And then you can be more specific and deliberate about speaking directly with your loved ones. So I did share that I did that a number of years ago now. It was I think it was the anniversary of my sister's passing. It was either that or it was her birthday. I can't remember which day it was. But suddenly I felt her energy come around me. So the first one that we did today was sensing. I sensed her energy, and I was writing at my desk, and I literally looked up and I was like, oh my gosh, she's here. So I grabbed the SB7 spirit box and I grabbed a recorder. I turned them both on and I asked only one question. I said to my sister, if this is you and you're here, and then I asked her a question. I said, if this is you, what color vehicle did I drive to your funeral? And immediately, I didn't have to wait. It wasn't like 5 minutes later. It was immediate. She said, yellow. And she said the right answer. It was her voice and her inflection. It was perfect. So when your loved ones want to talk to you, they will. And that is my go-to favorite thing. I don't get any kind of benefit from that. Like I've never gotten any kind of kickback or anything. I'm just, after doing paranormal work for over 19 years, the SB7 Spirit Box is simple. It's accurate. It's amazing. It's like a telephone to the other side. So I love it. But I also use my spiritual practices. I bless it. I clear it after every use. I always set my intentions during my time that I'm using it. And it just helps get a real clear audible connection where you can talk with your loved ones. So I would recommend that. Start there, start practicing with it. Okay. Okay, it's been 20 years for me, and the feeling to connect is getting stronger and stronger. Um, is that Rachel? Okay. Yeah, we grow in our spirituality. So and right now with the vibrations on Earth, there's so many things. Yes, there's upheaval, but there's vibrations that are increasing too. So if we're doing our healing work and staying attuned with the planet Earth as it ascends, we're going to be having many more spiritual experiences. So it's really important to, if you've ever been afraid of this, it's important to clear your fear around it and just become competent at working with the spirit world and keeping your vibration high and knowing that you can connect and knowing that there's so much more that's actually going on around you at all times. And I think connecting with your loved one really helps. Well, you're not alone. You're never, ever alone. And it helps you stay in alignment. It's really nice to know how much you're loved from the other side, because even if things end up looking kind of crappy, we all go through things. It's like you can always revert back to like, no, I'm not seeing it right now because of what's going on, but I know I'm loved. I know I have my spirit team. I know I have my ancestors. I know I have my loved ones on the other side, and they all back me. That's my spirit team, right? You have one too. All of those people, you have them, your own people, your own support team in the spirit world. So call on them, rely upon them. Okay. So, hi, Pamela. Can they send messages to tell family members? Absolutely. Yes. Absolutely. So if you're connecting with some loved ones in the spirit world, or just even the angels, right? It doesn't matter if it's a spirit guide, angel, or ancestor, and you want somebody else in the family to get a message, you can absolutely ask them to deliver a message for you. And they will most likely bring it to your loved one that's living in a dream visit. That's usually the way that they will deliver messages. But they could even bring in like a third party that has a physical interaction with them. So let's say, for instance, you want somebody in your family to get a message and you pray about it and you ask God to send the angels or a loved one in the spirit world or whatever it is, right? They may invoke another person to step into that person's path, but we're always interacting in each other's evolvement. And if people are arguing, for instance, you can actually go up to your spirit team and ask them to speak to your loved one's spirit team and have them work things out in the ethers so that you got in the physical plane can come back together, or to create harmony or make up, or find your peace or resolve, whatever that is. So definitely use them. Yes, they can bring messages, and they could be really quite physical messages as well, like books showing up with the right message on it, or all kinds of things, like unlimited things can occur that way. Um, okay, let's see. And let's see if I can scroll through some of these. Okay. Oh, somebody asked, why do people say this is demonic? That's just religious programming. There's just a lot of fear was programmed into the human, into our civilizations all throughout time. Whoever was looking for control and power made people afraid. But through all time, and even throughout the Bible, there are oracles, there are mystics. Jesus was one. It's just part of humanity. It's so natural. But many religions have tried to create fear around our divine gifts. They don't want individuals to know how divine they really are, because they're afraid they wouldn't need the church. So I don't ever like to steer people away from religion, because I think religion is purposeful and helpful. And I personally value the fact that I grew up in a Catholic religion, because I learned how to have sacred space. I learned how to pray. I learned how to believe in the saints and angels. I saw miracles happen. And so I wasn't in alignment, as I grew, I wasn't in alignment with their dogma, or maybe the political parts of the church. And so I just embraced all spirituality where I saw spiritual truth. That part of every religion I identify with. And I work with people over the world, all from different faiths. So, just remember, if something creates fear, or control is another way of fear, invoking fear, keeping you in your place. Fear is extremely low vibration, and your divine nature is in love. It's a high vibration, so it's not in judgment. So when many people strike out, in fear and anger and judgment, well, that's not Christian. That's not any of the godly things. So, if you're not vibrating in love, people just avoid people that are not vibrating in love. That's the best thing you can actually do for yourself for your entire life. Be around people that are loving and accepting of you, and love and accept yourself too. Everybody can have different religious beliefs, and nobody has to push theirs on each other. So it's very natural for you to be able to connect with the spirit world and to navigate through this. I have tons of videos on it. I mean, I have meditation videos as well. If you're looking for some of those dream visits, or doing an active meditation while you're awake to connect with your loved ones, I have many on my channel. So just go to, you're on my channel now, so I think my little thing comes up, but it's just YouTube/Diana Palm. I have some playlists for meditations. Some of them are for connecting with your pets that you lost that are in heaven. Some are connecting with your loved ones. And I lead you through a meditation that gets you into a slower brainwave, so you're more receptive to receiving the connection with your loved one. So check those out. Those are all free, so they're on my YouTube page. And share them too. If they help you, let me know and share them, because the people that have already done those meditations, they tell me all the time, like, oh my God, I can't believe it worked. Sometimes it works on the very first time they use the meditation. Sometimes maybe it's the third time, because they're training their brain how to relax and how to do just a nice, simple meditation. But everyone can do it. You can achieve really good results with it. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Hi, Pamela. Okay. My dad transitioned January 3rd, and I had a dream where he gave me some messages. Okay. Then some with me never happened yet. Okay. Should I tell my family members? That's always a good question. When you receive something spiritually like a connection, a contact, many people actually wonder, is it now my role to become the medium and tell everybody what happened, right? Or what's coming up or whatever it is? Because a lot of people will have premonition type messages where they foresee something happening. Now, it's entirely up to you. It is not, you're not responsible. Everyone has free will. So you can be the receiver of a message. And if you're not sure if you should share it or not, just pray on it or just meditate on it and see how you feel about it. Because some people actually get messages for upcoming deaths in the family. And then they're always like, oh my God, I'm supposed to stop this death. And I can tell you it's not true. They are perceiving the person's timing of death nearing, but that's not a date that is supposed to be changed. So when you get like a premonition for something like that, or someone in the spirit world gives you a warning or something like that, it's not to change the date necessarily. It's to like know that you're going to be there to love and support the people that are suffering or going through it. It's kind of like a heads up. So obviously, if it's something like, don't take that road today, don't get on the highway, there's going to be a huge pileup. If it's something like that and you can make a call and someone can avoid it, that's wonderful. But we actually have death doors and contracts of when we're leaving. So we can't step in and change somebody else's trajectory on their passing. Um, but if it's something sweet, if it'll bring healing to somebody, like if you're just saying like, oh gosh, my dad came through in a dream and he showed me this and I thought I would share it with you. And that helps heal your family because they feel hope now. Like, oh my God, I want to have a dream like that. I want dad to come to me. If it's something like that, then yes, please share it because that gives you the opportunity to be the medium. That gives you the opportunity to be the in-between person. If you're receptive, that you're getting that kind of communication, it is such an honor to be able to share it with others because it's going to bring about healing. It's going to help them heal their heart. It's going to like I said, give them hope and give them like just that knowing like they can develop it. They can learn to connect. They can anticipate their own visitations and their own dream visits and their own connection with their loved ones that passed. So I love sharing that. I think that was one of the things that, I started doing more and more before I really decided to jump into my mediumship because I was a natural medium. Things were just happening. Ghosts were walking around my house and I was hearing things, seeing things, and I was too scared to validate it and like be the voice box to tell others. So I did a lot of training because I wanted to make sure that I knew what I was doing when I did it. I didn't know that you could actually develop it to do on purpose. I thought it was just something that happened spontaneously, right? So I took many classes, traveled the world, studied with mediums all over the place, went to Arthur Findlay College in England. I worked with many, many mediums in the development of my own skills and then did paranormal for 19 years after that. But we can all develop it. It's in there. It's for you. So it's such a pleasure. It's actually nothing, I think, that feels more satisfying than really helping somebody understand that their loved one really is there, that they still are there. So be that medium. Do it. I encourage you. Okay. Okay. Don't know why my uncle didn't come to me after his passing. My other family members did. Oh, okay. Thank you, Amanda. Sorry. Let's see. One more second. I've got like some noise in my environment again. One moment. Okay. Okay. There we go. TV's on and off. The dog's going in and out. Sorry about that. Okay. Yeah. So that's a good thing. Okay. A good thing that you brought up actually. So when you have had other family members come through after passing, and then you suddenly have a loved one pass and you're not experiencing stuff, my first question would be, how did your uncle pass? Okay. I like to check in on all of our loved ones. In fact, like, because that's what I do, I kind of assign myself that responsibility for anyone I know or love or my family, friends, and outer circles, right? As soon as somebody passes, I'm connecting with them, making sure that they're hitting their mark, so to speak, because after death, there's like a window of time that we can go to the other side. It's not immediate. We take time here on earth, approximately 9 days, where we're contemplating, learning, going to our funerals, visiting everybody. It's really easy to get around and show up for everybody during that time. And then we have, through our free will, to go to the other side. And if we don't, we can become earthbound. And there's many reasons people don't. Some people are, had a very sudden ending, a sudden death. They're confused. If they're on drugs or alcohol, they're still intoxicated. There's a lot of reasons why people don't go into the light. Maybe they're afraid of God, they're afraid of judgment, or, like I said, they're just confused. They died too suddenly. Or in suicide, a lot of times people feel like they're going to be judged, and because of all the religious dogma they've heard about, right? So they're afraid all of a sudden to go into the light, and they stay earthbound. So it's free will. Nobody's rejected from heaven. But if we don't go, we become earthbound, and then they need somebody to cross them over so that they have full ability they get all their spiritual access back, right? So it's like when they're earthbound, it's like they lose the pass. It's like they're stuck where they are, and they have minimal abilities to do anything. But once they're crossed over, they get their access back. And then they can run around and see everybody, send dream visits. They're healthy, they're healed, they're where they're supposed to be. So that's why people like me do the work that we do, so that we can actually make sure that they get to the right place. And then the family members feel it because they begin to heal their grief. They're reconnected. They're getting the signs that they should be. They're getting the dreams they should be, all the things, the energy's reconnected again. So you'll definitely be able to tell whether or not your loved one needs a little help and assistance, or if they're where they should be, because the communication will be there. It'll be easier to access them. So thank you for asking me that. And by the way, if you're ever interested, I offer all my services on my website at www.dianapalm.com. So let's see. Thank you for, thank you so much. Karen, I appreciate that. Animal spirits. Yes, you bet. Yeah, our animals, I have a huge audience of pet lovers, and I'm a pet lover. I lost like my 2 cats last year. And actually it was really cool because just this morning, I've already been talking to you about the spirit box. This morning I was listening to that with my recorder, and there was a meow. And then one of the spirits said my cat's name, Gatsby. It's not a very usual name. You hardly ever hear it, in fact. And so I heard the meow on the recording, and then somebody identified my own cat that passed last year. I'm like, oh, it's so sweet, So I love the tools. I love all the tools, even though I can do it this way and I can get my connection and do it that way. I love the scientific tools because it brings it down to like more of a reality base. It's physical. There's proof. I'm all about proof of the afterlife. So I love that. I absolutely love that. So yes, I can just tell you 100% hands down, not only will you see all your loved ones, you'll see all your pets you ever loved when you pass. And obviously before that, and all your dream visits and all the other signs and symbols that they send you, but they're all there. They're still with you. Okay. Gosh, you guys, thank you so much. I just decided to pop on today. I really wasn't sure where I was going to go other than the original 5 signs. And I'll just repeat those: sensing spirit's presence, hearing a voice, smelling a scent, having a dream visit, or seeing an apparition or something in your environment that is letting you know that your loved one's around. So I really appreciate you guys being here. If any of you are actually interested in developing your mediumship, I have an online course called Master Your Mediumship, and where I take all my experience that I've gathered from all the years of going all around and doing different things and learning from all the different beautiful mediums and mentors and schools. I condensed it into just 8 courses. So I have Master Your Mediumship, and right now I'm including Paranormal Rescue Medium course with that one. So if you purchase this course and that you pay that tuition, you're going to get the Paranormal Rescue Medium course as well too. So that'll save you like $399. In that course, the first one's necessary to take. So you learn all the skills and tools and all the spiritual things you need to work safely within the realms of spirit. the Paranormal Rescue Medium course will actually help you clear hauntings or dark energies. And there have been a lot, as you know, in the last few years with all the spiritual attacks and depression and suicides, there have been a lot of dark energies for people to overcome. And so there's all kinds of spiritual warriors like you, like me, that are out there clearing spaces and bringing down the light to help humanity and help keep the light down here. So that course is really good for that. That'll help you clear spaces and do it without fear, drama. It'll be really safe. I even actually have the whole command process recorded. I've had students download it onto their phone and listen to it in an active haunting, or play it out loud at an active haunting, instead of trying to memorize everything. Of course, the best way is to learn it, but that is available. So anyway, check it out. I'm going to put the link below this video. I don't think it's on there yet. I just made the bundle pack, the Pro bundle today. So I'll put the link as soon as this is done so you guys can access that or check it out if you're interested. Okay. I think that's it, you guys. Yeah, I just, my goal is to always, help you learn as many spiritual secrets as possible so that you can literally lift the veil and just really feel your power. You are a spiritual being. We are also physical. I believe we are here to remember how to use our spiritual gifts in the physical. And that's why I teach classes on like the manifesting, and I do videos on it and all this stuff. Because it's like whenever we can get out of our mundane reality, the matrix, the physical, the program, and we can tap back into our spiritual gifts, we can live such a more beautiful life, more inspired, more exciting, more loving. And I prefer to have magic around me all the time. I really love living that way. So anyways, if you're new here, if this is your first time to my channel, please go to like my main channel page and seriously look at my playlist. You're bound to find some wonderful meditations to help you connect with your loved ones. You'll find a lot of specific ones on like, what it feels like when you're soul sick, or I have a soul series on there. I have an afterlife series on there. I have all kinds of videos that are helpful, and those are all free. So I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in with me and for being here today. I'll try to do this more often. I love connecting with people live, and I love it being able to connect with you. And I thank you also for all your questions. I really appreciate it. All right, you guys, I'll see you next time. Okay, bye-bye. Have a great day.